Nowadays, people can flex differently with clothing, cars, phones, trips and rings, but at the time it was by commissioning paintings. I mean, nowadays still is in some settings, but for the common poor mortal, they just can flex gold chains and diamonds. Money can buy you a 24-karat gold chain, but it can buy you the finesse to appreciate a 500-year-old painting. I'm kidding. Let's look at the fabric, because that is the real flex in this painting. So let's go.
Welcome to Story Behind the Painting, where we dive into the most famous artworks and learn a lot from that.
The client was not a priest. Normally who buys altars are priests, but this one was a merchant who made his fortune in textiles. And you can see heavily because Gabriel and Mary had a lot of fabric all over the place. And the folding of the fabric is one of the biggest details of this painting. It's crazy. But he's not just flexing that he has what it has, he's also promoting his business. So he's doing like a bit of marketing type of thing. Pretty smart, right? The person was likely to be Jan or Peter Engelbrecht from Mechelen or Mechelen. It's not known for sure, but we know that it belongs to that family, Engelbrecht, because of a simple detail. The coat of arms on the window. Very, very peculiar, very, very easy to identify. The purpose of this painting was to have a home altar. Instead of going to a church, the owners used it in their home to pray the Holy Mary and ask for God for children. In terms of the streets, this painting gives us not just the setting inside of a home, a typical home, Dutch home of the middle class in the 15th century, but also it portrays a bit of the streets. We can see on the left panel, we can see on the right panel, and the location is not very clear, which it is. It can be Ghent, Liège, Mechelen, Burgundy. There's a lot of similar styles of that era in northern France and all that region. The streets look very, very peaceful, that people would live a normal life, very peaceful life. But that region was pretty chaotic at the time. There was the 100 Years' War, the English occupation of France until Joan of Arc at 1429, victory. And there was a lot of civil wars in Florence, Paris, Bruges and Ghent. And while that, Portugal was doing the discoveries. I mean, why to fight people if you can fight waves? And at least the sea was just rough, not purposely against. I mean, it is what it is. Now, in terms of the details of this painting, there's a lot that meets the eye, and I think we can have some conspiracy theory here, so we can bring Dan Brown a bit. They are really very interesting, these details. So, first thing, because of the usage of oil painting, it was possible to create these hyper-realistic textures. The light reflecting out of the metal, rust on the nails, the shadows, the individual bird feathers. This is very, very different than the Italian Renaissance. The Italian Renaissance was more about the human body, and so understanding the bones, the waves, the movements, and so on, like portraying as much as possible. But in the Northern Renaissance, it was about the details, the context, social, like exterior, but also interior. The houses and so on, the birds, you can see even the flowers and the shadows and some ray tracing with double shadows being casted on the wall and the painter portraying that. So it's interesting that there's a usage of perspective, but not very mathematically accurate. The goal was to bring as much elements to the place as possible. Also, the linear perspective was still in beta testing at the time, but still very good to avoid the two dimensions and bring a bit more of volume to the space. We can see inside a house what is in front and what is more behind, and also in the left and right panel you can see outside for the streets and also have a bit of perspective and depth towards it. So some key details that are very interesting. High detail fabric folding on Mary and Gabriel. No halos, possibly to make it feel more human. Also the white lilies also symbolize the Mary's purity, as well as the white towel and the very clean pot. The tiny Jesus is a very interesting characteristic of this painting. A small figure with a cross, carrying a cross, and flying through the window in 7 beam lights going from the window. The double shadows on the keys and the water pot, it shows that Campin realized there was 2 light sources, the window and the open door. That's some good ray tracing for someone in 1422. Also, there's other details like the birds outside, the flowers, several types of flowers, roses, and so on. The smoke of the candle, which seems that it was just blown away, fire. And I believe this is an opinion of mine, that it was to connect with the door being open, with the window open, to make a wind corridor that would shatter, destroy the candlelight. And with that part of the door, it's very interesting because it kind of symbolizes that the couple was acknowledging, as per them, but also per humanity, that Annunciation actually happened. So it was a connection with the humanity and the divine. There's also on the right a very funny detail, the mousetraps. It was built based on this painting. It was built, recreated one in 3D, and it works, and it was really a mousetrap. And outside we can see on the window, and it's thought that it is also a mousetrap. And in my perspective, this has 2 main symbols. So at this time, 15th century, there was already past the Black Plague, and it was known that the rats, the mouses, would carry the virus of the Black Plague. So here, in my opinion, Joseph is protecting, not just in terms of health, in terms of security, let's say, but also financially, taking care of the house and just providing. Yeah, we can see a weird symbol on the Gabriel decoration, and no, it's not the symbol that you're thinking. That is a Gamadian, a super old school decorative motif. Moving forward, triptych structure. So the first created was the Annunciation. So normally painters would start a painting in a way that would be easily self-promoted, so then someone would be able to commission and pay for the rest. Okay, so it started from the Annunciation, then the donors, and then the Joseph. On the left panel, we can see the newlyweds. They are like sneaking through the door, but they are like kneeled, acknowledging and respecting the Annunciation. And you can see a bit of the edge of the door in the painting, that it really connects one panel to the other. Otherwise, it could be like seeing different places, but the painter really wanted to portray that this is connected with this. On the contrary, for the Joseph, it shows like a different place. We don't know if it is on the lower part of the house, if it is on top of the house, if it is in a workshop very outside, distance from the house. So there's like a separate environment. But that is very common in the Annunciation, because Joseph had nothing to do with conception of Jesus. It came from God. So it's very common to put Joseph aside, or even not portray it. And that's the Merode Triptych by Robert Campin. A very innovative painting for the time. That inspired us to make this AI, but an updated version. We put Cristiano Ronaldo and Gabriel and Mary. in a small apartment because the housing is pretty expensive. We cannot put too much space. Even Gabriel would have a bit of time to enter because normally there's no windows. So yeah, there are some home appliances. Joseph is a software engineer, providing financially and protecting from cyber attacks. I mean, we never know when a drone comes out of our window, but still the holiness is intact and the holiness prevails. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to know more, don't forget to subscribe, click on the bell signal. It helps us grow, it helps us make more content, and makes us you to stay updated for when we put new content here. So share with your friends and family, and if you kind of don't like the video, do it anyway, because perhaps you may change your taste. We never know. We try our best. We can improve ourselves. So do you. Come on. It's not paying. Click, click. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.